Israel has just launched a strike on Iran. Missiles lit up the skies over the Middle East, top commanders have been killed, and a war once thought to be hypothetical is now very real. But this isn't just a clash between two longtime enemies. It's a battle between survival and ambition. And behind the curtain of fire and smoke is the United States silently pulling the strings. This is not just a story about Israel and Iran. It could be the spark that triggers a global chain reaction. Join me as we dive deep into one of the hottest flashpoints on Earth, where every missile launched could reshape the world order. The Middle East in the eye of the storm, from ideological clash to nuclear peril. The Middle East has long been a geopolitical tinderbox, a region where Israel and Iran are locked in an existential confrontation that goes far beyond conventional conflict. Israel, a nation of just over 9 million people and smaller in size than the state of Texas, has lived in a near-permanent state of war for more than 70 years. Meanwhile, Iran, guided by Shia Islamic ideology and an ambition for regional dominance, openly rejects the legitimacy of the Zionist state. Despite enduring years of international sanctions, Iran's nuclear program has continued to advance quietly but steadily. For Israel, this represents a strategic nightmare. A single nuclear weapon could overwhelm its entire defense doctrine. But Iran's threat isn't limited to the bomb. It projects power through a web of proxy forces, Hezbollah in Lebanon with hundreds of thousands of rockets, and Hamas in Gaza capable of launching coordinated attacks within hours. These extended arms of Tehran apply constant military pressure, forcing Israel into a perpetual state of high alert. Recently, tensions have breached the threshold of endurance. Strikes and counterstrikes have grown increasingly direct, pushing the region to the very brink of all-out war. Escalation and retaliation, when proxy war turns into open conflict. On June 13, 2025, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a series of coordinated airstrikes targeting Iran's key nuclear and military facilities, including the uranium enrichment plant in Natanz. Significantly, the operation resulted in the deaths of 3 high-ranking Iranian military leaders, among them Mohammad Hossein Bagheri, Chief of Staff of Iran's Armed Forces, and Hossein Salami, Commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC. The strikes were carried out using advanced F-35 fighter jets, precision-guided munitions, and intelligence support from Mossad, demonstrating meticulous planning and strategic intent. The result? A partial collapse of Iran's air defense systems and the deaths of more than 78 individuals, including several nuclear scientists. Israel described the operation as a preemptive strike of existential necessity, aimed at preventing Iran from crossing what Tel Aviv calls its red line, the threshold of acquiring nuclear weapons capability. Iran strikes back, drones, missiles, and cyber warfare. In the night of June 13 and the early hours of June 14, Iran launched a counterattack, firing over 100 suicide drones and dozens of ballistic missiles at military and civilian targets in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and surrounding areas. While most projectiles were intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome defense system, supported by U.S.-supplied air defense batteries, several missiles broke through, causing significant damage to buildings in Ramat Gan, killing at least 3 people and injuring dozens more. Tehran described the assault as a measured and wise response to what it called Israeli aggression, and warned that further attacks would follow if the airstrikes did not cease. Meanwhile, Iran's proxy forces, including the Houthi rebels in Yemen, also declared their readiness to join the conflict, raising the threat of a wider regional war that could stretch far beyond the direct Israel-Iran front. The shadow front: espionage, leaks, and cyberspace. Beyond the skies, the confrontation is unfolding just as fiercely in cyberspace and through covert intelligence operations. Iran has claimed it obtained highly classified documents related to Israel's nuclear program and military infrastructure, a strategic blow aimed at undermining Tel Aviv's security posture. At the same time, Iran's cyber warfare units, including the Mabna Institute, affiliated with the IRGC, are believed to have launched multiple attacks on Israel's critical infrastructure, targeting water systems, electrical grids, and traffic control networks. In response, Israel, with intelligence and technological backing from the United States, has escalated its own covert operations deep within Iranian territory. These include the deployment of suicide drones and precision-guided weapons aimed at weapons depots, radar installations, and sensitive data centers in and around Tehran. The role of the United States, the composer in the shadows. Amid rising tensions, the United States plays a dual role, a strategic ally on one hand, and a behind-the-scenes coordinator with its own calculations on the other. Washington is believed to have quietly given the green light to Israel's military operation, with one key condition: avoid targeting oil facilities and sensitive nuclear zones in order to minimize the risk of oil price shocks and prevent a broader disruption to the global economy. While the U.S. administration continues to call for restraint and dialogue, in practice, its military, intelligence, and diplomatic support for Israel has only intensified. Meanwhile, America itself is grappling with internal turbulence, deep political divisions, economic instability, and mounting pressure from the upcoming presidential election. In such a climate, a foreign crisis can serve, intentionally or not, as a diversionary tool, shifting public focus outward and creating a renewed sense of national unity. Though the U.S. may not be the director of the conflict, it is undeniably the composer of the soundtrack, setting the tone loud enough to drown out domestic discord and carefully calibrated to avoid tipping the region into full-scale disaster. Conclusion: a stress test for regional order and global balance. The Israel-Iran confrontation is no longer a simple bilateral dispute. It has become a litmus test for the entire security architecture of the Middle East, for the strategic posture of the United States, and for the international community's ability to exercise restraint. For Israel, it is a fight for survival. For Iran, it is a declaration of sovereignty and regional power in the face of Western pressure. For the United States, it is a high-stakes balancing act between deterrence and de-escalation. Without a strategic pullback from at least one of the players, this cycle of retaliation could easily spiral beyond control, leading to consequences that reach far beyond the battlefield, from oil market chaos and supply chain disruptions to the unthinkable, a direct confrontation between global powers.